So, was there ever some sort of upstander in your life, or someone you didn't have to personally know him, but
Well, I was an avid reader when I got older, and there's all kinds of different personalities that used to fascinate me. I wouldn't say that I had any moral compass when I was younger. It was until I got older that I could separate the fictional characters in movies and or self-aggrandizing people like Sean Connery or James Bond, who was just more or less somebody who was cool or strong or attractive, and my values, I guess, and I think the values of the country kind of went off in the wrong direction. When I was about 14, 15 years old, my values changed to money, success, cars, and women, things you want to pursue. That there was no real moral compass, and I think there was a moral compass in my generation. So as we emerged later on from the dark night of the Playboy ethic and the James Bond ethic and the Hollywood ethic, where you get everything you can't get your hands on, and you want it to be more of an indulgent kind of a rich guy, a popular guy. I think what happened, what began to change that a little bit, was the invasion of the British singers like the Beatles. They began to bring the ethic of possibly an upbeat, more humane, more loving happiness than strangling a secret agent on a railroad train. And it was like a type of maturity that came by that you realized as you copied all the different roles that you saw in the movies, the Beatles kind of began to push people away from that. And as it got more and more intense with the Vietnam War, people began to reconsider the moral values of hurting other human beings and justifying bombing, fighting, or what they were really about, because we believed in World War II. My dad was, of course, he was a decorated World War II veteran. He had 4 medals. And he was my hero when I was a young guy because he was strong and he was brave. He actually had been wounded and had become an officer, and so he was the moral compass of my life. And he did try to bring me some rules of compassion about treating people fairly and not to be mean to people, to be fair to people. And of course, there was probably the biggest influence, of course, of all, underneath it all, was my Catholic upbringing, through the nuns and the preaching of fairness and equality through religion, and the Catholic upbringing was the most influential in my life. To teach compassion and love and respect for the people.
So would you say that if you weren't brought up Catholic, that you would have a different life?
I wish I knew. I wish I could have had the experience of growing up in different religions to see if my personality would have changed, because there's always that possibility that you become too weak, too passive, and become a victim. If you're too much of a doormat, that's not a good thing. And you need to have a certain intellectual understanding of the world and your place in it. And being a mushy, compassionate person, I thought, was the be-all and end-all. And as I got older and older, I realized that's really not the case. That morality can consist of all kinds of things, some which don't really fit the mold of like a soft-hearted person that feels sorry for everybody. I mean, there are the great scientists, great writers, businessmen, people who create corporations, people who, explorers, military people, that actually, there's a certain amount of toughness that you have to have, a certain amount of edginess and self-centeredness, to get things done. So I think that Catholic education might have had some influence on me, not really getting the edge that you need in the world to see things straight. There has to be discipline. There has to be. You can hire people. You have to be able to fire them. You got to be strong. It takes strength in life to. You've got to be able to discriminate about people and their abilities, and sometimes you might have to fire somebody. Like I said, it's you got to tell people off. You got to when people are sandbagging, when people are not good people. I mean, I grew up thinking that everybody was a good person, and I guess that's just not true. There are people, they might have the hope of becoming what you want them to be, are just not good, and they can take advantage of you or other people and play you for a sucker. And depends on where you go and what level of life you're at. If you're in the military, if you're in business, construction, or The Office, you know, you start getting, you know, kind of like sideswiped by people, and it's difficult as you get older, and you realize that the world is not such a simple thing as you thought it was in the movies. It's far more complicated.